This is at Trustworthy Slav.
This is at Incognito, COH.
CRK Black Dot Compilled.
This is the Fed Post.
Do more stuff like roll-wise, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Like trimming the fat on a lot of stuff, but yeah, I mean, as far as this week, I mean, I feel good because I've been I vented about all the stuff I've been wanting to vent about, like Musk and fucking theocracy and different shit like that. That's been mass shooter. Oh yeah, well, we're not talking about that. That's done. I'm not talking about that. And
No,
I know
sir.
you guys want to talk about that, so fuck that. Whatever happened July 4th, hope everybody grilled and had fun, because I don't want to talk about anything else about that.
That's what I was actually going to say, bro. Why don't we just kick it off with, first of all, I hope you guys had a great Independence Day in July 4th weekend.
Same to you.
So I hope all our listeners did as well. It's a big holiday for us here in the States. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. It was,
I had a pretty good one. It was low key.
Yeah, same. I was at some island like near the city. I ferried over there.
Oh, nice, dude.
A birthday thing. So it was a chill situation. I mean, if you're listening, you're not from America.
This shit's just for us.
It sucks for you, yeah.
If I catch any fucking foreigners celebrating Independence Day, it's on site.
Bro. Some British comes over here talking about Happy 4th, bruh.
Sod off, yeah. There's fucking all these videos I'm seeing, they're going viral of like people like firing fireworks out of their car like it's Beirut, like just bombing the street. That shit is so fucking funny.
Yes, dude.
It's amazing.
My neighborhood was getting lit up with fireworks, bro. Man, it was wild.
Yeah. I'm pro whatever that is, whatever intervention that is. But yeah. So that was all going on. I don't, I mean, again, the news, we keep thinking like, is there major breaks in the whole abortion, guns, overall recession decline that's going on? I don't see anything big yet. But there was, I don't know if you guys have, but like, I guess there's stuff going abroad that's sort of interesting. And then there's the, as far as like random bullshit, there's the Bodega Bro thing. You guys saw it?
Okay, I've been hearing about Bodega Bro, but I don't know what the fuck he is.
Slav, have you seen it?
Oh, I saw Bodega Bro. I'm all up to, dude. I'm focusing on the issues that matter, of course. Of course, dude. Fucking, we're all getting poorer by the day. Dollar buys less and less. Our currency is being weakened. And I'm staying up to date on Bodega Bro for sure, man. For sure.
I like Joe the plumber.
Dude, well, maybe. I mean, we could start a Bodega Bro pack and try to get him to run for office or something. But
hell yeah, him and Chet Hanks. That's what I was saying. Chet
Holy
Hanks
fuck.
and Bodega Bro 2024.
What a ticket, dude!
Come on, bro. Come on. That's over.
Did you see his follow-up video?
Yeah. See, okay, look. See, okay. Well, for people who aren't online pilled and aren't sickos who know about this,
I guess we have to
there's
tell
a TikTok
people
going viral of this kid. He's some white kid from Michigan. He's Chad. He's got the Chad physiognomy. He's got the Chad jawline. And he just moved to New York. His first day at school, first day in New York. And I think he's in the Bronx or something. And he's walking around like, bro, where's the fucking groceries, bro? And he's just like walking around and he's just like, I keep going to these fucking places. He's pointing at bodegas. He's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. This isn't a grocery. And he's just like, I want the sandwich the Aki way. You know what that is? And he's just like, he's green. He's green around the gills. You know what I mean? He doesn't know what's going on. He's just dropped off. He doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah, he's doing a little light teasing, and I mean, the thing of it is like, fundamentally, I mean, he's pointing out there's fucking food deserts in these places, dude. Yeah. Which is not.
He's a Wookiee in the making.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's pointing out something that's a completely reasonable and helpful thing to point out. He's just not doing it in the right affect and manner.
Man, you know
And
what,
so
Slav?
what?
That makes me think that's a great point you're talking about with the food deserts. Because now I'm thinking about the leftist like preoccupation and obsession with bodegas and like AOC with her cafecita and the bodegas. And I'm thinking, is that just another layer of like leftists just like,
Well,
you know, trying to explain away all the terrible things in society just by being like, actually, we love those things. You can't hate on them. Like, you know what I mean? Just like the bodegas are actually great because they're cultural and they've got immigrants that CRK,
what
bro,
the
your
fuck
shit
is
sounds
going
like
on?
garbage, dude.
Are you like making a cocktail?
You got a mixologist over here.
Dude, he's just like getting his gear ready, just like shooting up fucking while you're talking. CRK.
Sorry, my mic got I don't. Something happened with my audio. I
Hold on, I'm driving over to New York to execute you right now. No, dude, I like what you're talking about of just this whole like this like romanticizing bodegas, but actually it's kind of like it's just. Oh my god,
It happened again.
I'm gonna kill myself. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. Am I
It's
good
all
now?
good. I'm just gonna wait until you're done.
I'm like the old man in Twin Peaks that shows up in Cooper's room, just like, it is happening again.
It is happening. No, dude, I'm fucking David Lynch's character just screaming over this sound. What? What the hell?
Holy shit.
CRK, buddy, you got some interference there.
That's actually a pretty good impression.
Would you like a donut, COH? No,
Lynchian as fuck.
No, dude, that whole point you're making of just like romanticizing these things that really are indicators of like food deserts and just like the effects of fucking just depriving people of resources. I mean the real thing is that's like the entire thing with romanticizing like minority cultures that like libs do a lot of the time generally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you like point it out, they accuse you of just you're talking about the culture of poverty right now, dude. And it's just like, no, I mean, I just like, you know, let's like not miss the forest for the trees. Like we can acknowledge like the innate value of people that have been like historically oppressed, but not, you know, like it would be like being like, oh man, like it's just a great tradition within the African American community. You know, I love these slave chains that my grandpappy had, and he passed them down. And you can't criticize slave chains and the chain gang because that's a rich romantic tradition within this community. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? These bodegas suck balls. I mean, I don't know. I don't fucking have bodegas around me, so I don't want to erase CRK's experience as a New York
I'm
degenerate.
fucking fuming, yo. What the fuck? I'm about to light up now.
Dude, where else can you go to get paper towels and M&Ms?
Oh fuck.
Yeah,
that
dude.
video, dude, that shit blew my mind. I've never been in a bodega. I don't know shit about them. I mean, I've been in some like, I went to like overseas in Southeast Asia and like Vietnam, and I went into some like stores like that, but I haven't been in anything like that stateside.
Where,
But, like,
where do
I
you
grew
get
up in
your
the South.
cafecito? Where do you get your cafecito?
Bro, I go gas station coffee, dude. That's where I get my cafecito.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I rock that shit straight out of the
Yeah,
hot
I mean,
shaker.
I like bodegas. I mean, they're pretty clutch. I mean, it's not something I know online. This has become like this is like the focal point. This is the battleground for like a lot of cultural beef between like rural and urban and all that. But I mean, I don't feel very passionate about it. I mean, it's
You're like,
nice.
yeah, there's stores. You know, it's good
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
things I need sometimes.
I never have to walk more than a block to get like a bunch of shit, and like they serve food, and the food's usually pretty good. So like, I guess that's the difference between that and like a regular like 7-Eleven maybe, or like a regular store like that. It's like I go like 4 a.m. and get like chicken over rice, and it's pretty good.
Oh, they serve hot food.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what
nice.
makes it, I guess, distinct from like a regular. Because basically everything in there is basically like a dollar store, convenience store, but like kind of condensed. And the real key difference is alcohol is nice because like when I'm in Jersey or whatever, getting alcohol is a bitch. But here in degenerate New York, you get to walk in and there's like beer everywhere. There's, sometimes there's liquor.
In New Jersey,
in
New Jersey, you have to go to a specific like liquor store or something like that to get it.
Yeah, I mean it varies, but in Jersey, like you got to go to the liquor store and it closes at a certain time. They're very like they don't want people just like pulling up to. You can't go to 7-Eleven and buy beer and shit. Like depends where you're at, but a lot of Jersey's like that.
You can't buy beer in a convenience store
in Jersey. Well, I'm from like North Jersey, and like a lot even Central Jersey. Like you can't just go to a convenience. Like you gotta go. Like if you want alcohol, you gotta go on a alcohol run.
Yeah.
But here it's like, oh, I'm going buying some paper towels or I'm buying some like batteries or whatever. Like, oh shit, buy a 6-pack. You know what I mean? Or like
that's how liquor is in Alabama. Like you can go to the gas station and buy beer. I think it has to be like under 4.5% alcohol or whatever. Like you can buy like beer and you can buy like a White Claw or whatever. But like if you want to buy liquor, you got to go to like the ABC store, which is like the Alabama Beverage Control. Or you gotta go to like a specific liquor store to get like liquor.
Bro, I can just go to the fucking. I can just go down the street to a not gas station. I can just go down the street to like my grocery store and just like buy a fucking whole record of vodka.
Unreal.
It rocks. Yeah. I don't fucking make use of it, but
it's like, I could go to my room right now and there's a whole bar there.
I just start like sweating. I'm just like, guys, I'll be right back.
It's cool in other countries like DR. I've been to, and other places where like you pull up to a bodega. They're a bodega equivalent. This is like a Spanish thing, and like there's like hard liquor in there, like straight up hard liquor. Like the liquor store and the convenience store are the same. And it's like, oh shit, like that's kind of cool. But again, I mean, to cool. I mean, like I don't know. I mean, like the food is clutch in certain situations or whatever. But it's like. I don't know. I don't get the whole thing of like, the lib white girl making the TikTok of like, oh, I met my bodega and just like super excited and just kind of like
it's class. It's like it's LARPing. It's like it's
exactly,
LARP, dude.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is that like the whole reason. I think we skimmed over it, but like Bodega Bro died for our sins, bro. He got fired from his fucking job. Like he moved across he moved across the fucking country to like live in a super fucking expensive city and got a good job and then fucking got fired for just a retarded TikTok he made and he's fucked, dude.
Wait, what did he get fired for? Just for making it?
Okay. Oh my god, we've done a horrible job of introing this topic. He did a TikTok being like, yo, like he said, right? Like CRK said, like, yo, where's the fucking grocery stores? Where's this fucking bodega shit? What the fuck? And though to be fair, not even that bad, right? And he's like, oh, here I go, going home to fucking eat ramen and Cheetos for dinner or whatever. And then people fucking jumped on him. And then there's this little fucking like sprightly New York Jew who makes this response video just being like, oh, well, you're making fun of people's access to food. And it's inappropriate. And people fucking got this guy fired from his job, dude. And that's the whole thing, right? Is that it's like, is there anything fundamentally wrong with a bodega, right? Nah, man.
Of course not.
And it seems nice. It seems efficient. I like efficiency. In a city, efficiency, right? But like, I think the issue is that coming at the cost of having a fucking grocery store around and like that being used as just like, well, that's your fucking access to food. That's the issue. And that's the funniest. Right. That's the funniest, most ironic part about the leftoids freaking out on him about it is that they're like defending it as a fucking legitimate source of getting your groceries.
That's crazy,
and that's fucking wild, dude. It's the song of a bird who's come to love its own cage, dude. It's it's cope, dude. It's cope, and it's not even cope, dude. It's like it's manufacturing consent actively
100%,
and getting this guy fired from his fucking job. So that's the tale of Bodega Bro. And the stinger at the end, my favorite part, and where I think the real meat on the bone of this is his fucking cringe ass follow-up video where he buys a bunch of fucking chopped cheese or whatever disgusting shit you people eat and fucking goes around. I'm sorry. And he's just giving it to homeless people.
Right.
Just killing them. Just killing homeless people.
Holy shit. Loading up with seed oils.
Dude, oh my god, man. And
Killing them.
and yeah, I think one of the funny things is like, I mean, wasn't one of the people in the video like just a guy hanging out on the side of the road? He's just like a minority standing.
It's just CRK.
Yo, imagine, bro. That's what I'm thinking. It's like he's trying mad hard to like cover. He's like, I'm woke. I'm not like. I'll show you what Bodega Bro is all about. That's what he says.
Please give me my job back.
He's playing sap, like happy ass go lucky music, and like he's just like handing out all this food to everybody, and then I mean, one guy was like going through it. He's like one of the homeless guys that's like
he's going through it.
Not even this point.
He was horizontal on a park bench, straight up.
And one guy was just definitely like not in this plane of existence. Like he's going through it bad. And then he gave it to one guy that was like, he just looked normal. He just like normal. He just like talking to him. He's just like, "Hey man, how's it going? What are you doing?" He's just asking him questions. Like, you know what I mean? It was so fucking funny.
He's just like wearing basketball shorts and just like leaning up against a brick wall. And then this guy just comes up and just gives him like a plastic bag full of fucking essential groceries. And like, dude, can you imagine? It must feel kind of bad to just be like hanging out. And like if someone just came up to you and was just like, "Here, man, like I know what you need," and he's like just buying you like a sandwich and like a gallon of milk.
How trash is your fit if the guy walks over? I know you're going through a hard time, buddy.
Oh my god!
I know you're struggling. You look like shit.
Yeah, as Bodega Bro walks up to give you cash, or not cash, like Bodega items, someone else is walking up also recording like, "Whoa, what are those, bro? What the fuck is this fit, bro?"
It's the class equivalent of like asking a fat woman when she's going to give birth.
Oh shit!
I look like a bum, and he just walks up and offers. Thinks I'm home. That's definitely what's going on. I mean, the whole situation is very, very fucking funny. I mean, people online were taking it really seriously. Everybody was taking it. People writing think pieces. You know how it goes with the internet or whatever. The whole situation was fucking hilarious and very like innocent and like, but of course these freaks, they have to get him fucking fired because apparently there was another video in between the two of them where he like was like going to the gym or whatever. He's like, "Man, I'm going to the gym. Like I'm the only white guy there. It's fucking weird." He's like, but I'm gonna smooth things over. I got this NAACP shirt on. He's got an NAACP shirt. The sleeves are cut off. This shit is fucking gold, man. This
dude is a Chad, bro.
Bro, this shit is comedy gold, and it's like it's just raw. And I don't think he's being facetious. I think he's just raw, dude. He just doesn't know. Again, like somebody made some comment like, "Yo, this bro was like he was transported from 2006 in the time machine." Like it's the Chet Hanks thing. Like he doesn't know. He just doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know the climate. And
it's different. It's different. It's a little different. I'll say, I don't usually say this kind of stuff, but like the music he plays over the video is fucking white person music, dude. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a fucking.
What are you talking about? What kind of music?
It's like a guitar track that would go over like a fucking Kashi cereal commercial.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. He's very like earnest and he's very like oblivious. Like he has no idea. He's straight out of like Michigan, like from wherever.
It's like
no idea what's going on. No idea.
Like COH said a while back of the fucking. He's the noble savage, dude.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. Holy shit. That was a bar. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And I think in the video where he's talking about going to the gym, he's got the NAACP shirt. He says, "I'm gonna wear this like get on the good side of these people." He said.
Oh hell yeah.
And that's the one that like everybody's like, "What do you mean these people?" And then he's like, and then they're just like, that's what got him. Like apparently, what I heard because I was like, "How did they get him fired?" They were like, apparently that's what they tagged his employer, and the employer was like, the Twitter account was like, "Oh my god, we don't this." And
wait, was that in the Bodega video? He said, "I'm gonna wear this NAACP shirt to get good with these people." Yeah,
well, no, it was a separate TikTok he did, but again, bro, it's so like it's innocent. You know what I mean? It's completely innocent. Like he doesn't know. He just doesn't know, and it's like there's a difference between like it's a difference between somebody going through and being like, I'm gonna keep a knife on me or whatever, going around, because you know how it is with people. There's a big difference between that and being like, I hope I get on the good side of these people or whatever. Like, it's way more like bland and innocent. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a guy being the minority race in like for the first time in his fucking life.
Yes. Yeah.
And
there's a difference.
Them to like him. He wants them to like him. Think about that. Like, you know what I mean? This is first day of school, and you guys got him fired. You people are sickos, man. Let him go.
He wants black people to like him, and that wasn't.
I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't, folks? You know what I mean? That's interesting because it's like, there's a difference between being like, man, there's a lot of black people here, and being like, man, there's too many black people here. Like, there's a big difference. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're losing the ability to like really parse that out nowadays.
Oh yeah. It's the old joke of like 90s humor, 2000s humor of this kind of like, you know, just light ribbing or just kind of like, you know, just like, oh, these people, what, you know, it's just kind of like that wide-eyed, like, you know, because everything's online, we're all connected, we're all very hyper aware, and like, you know. Things have gotten like hypersensitive. The racism's gotten finer, like higher, you know, more esoteric racism. We got that now.
More refined palettes.
More refined.
We've looped back to like, you know, measuring skulls and such.
Yeah, the Giga Chat like is studying in depth various cultures so we can do racism better, like that, and like the wokery where it's like so sensitive to like the inflection in your voice and like the grammar you use, like freaking the fuck, like, oh my God, like freaking the fuck. We're at like a high intensity point because of the internet. I feel like because a lot of these people just never interact before without the internet. You're never gonna run into these people. So, you know, these people, I mean, you know, see, I just did it. What I mean is like people not from your immediate community, you're just never gonna run into them. But now everybody's like, you know, squeezed together in the trolley car of the internet. So,
which is funny because like you're totally right in pointing that out, and it's just ironic that that like it's people spurging out over someone having an actual authentic real life experience with like the actual application of cultural exchange. You know what I mean? Like he's like this is actually what it looks like. It's actively happening here, and this guy is just naive enough to not do the thing where like people just don't say the quiet parts out loud around that stuff. And I don't know. It is like it is like a little bit of like a cringe thing to point out. Almost the kind of like the like. I don't know, the like comedian people kind of thing of being like, we used to be able to talk about this kind of stuff and like people, but it's true. You know what I mean? Like it is true. And regardless of how many times you point that out and how like cliche it becomes, like it's fucking true. So yeah. And you know, he doesn't mean any like, okay. Yeah. He's clearly like naive. He's clearly a bit of a moron. Like he doesn't know what's going on, but like,
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing exactly. There is nothing wrong with being a fucking idiot. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, especially a well-meaning idiot. There's nothing wrong with that, and that needs to be like.
Dude, I think that's one of the best things you can be in the world. That's so much better than being like a smug know-it-all. Like, literally so much better. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Because that person, you could like tell them like, oh, I actually don't like what you say, this type of thing. And they'll be like, oh, for real, bro? And, you know, they'll actually listen to you and like, you know what I mean? Like, what, bro? I didn't even think of that. You know what I mean? You'll have that type of thing. Like, but like, you know, as opposed to like, you know, again, the fact that he could be mixed up with someone, the guy is not racist. Okay. I mean, again, I don't want to make into the distinction of who is racist, who isn't, because that's a fucking endless conversation and it's all bullshit.
Well, also because even if he was racist, being racist isn't a reason to lose your fucking job, bro. Like, unless you're a fucking like judge or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, unless there's like a practical fucking reason, like, no, dude, like, what? He probably had some fucking retarded PMC product manager job or something.
Yeah, I think he was like in tech doing some like.
He fucking is writing code, dude. Like, dude, official stance right here. If you like write code, you're completely allowed to be racist.
You're making the computers racist, bro.
Oh my god!
You're creating the racist AIs.
The racist AI, yeah.
the AIs are
calling me the N-word in my replies. You made that. You made that program.
The AIs are getting racist for completely different reasons.
He seems like a dullard. I imagine he's got one of those. You know those videos of those girls where they're just in the pool, like, hey, we make 60K or whatever. He's
PMC for sure.
The email jobs or whatever. Like, I'm sure he's got that. Who knows? Who knows what type of job he has? But either way, should not have been fired. And look, I mean, it's sorry. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, again, he should not have been fired. I mean, the guy is like, he doesn't know what's going on. That's not a crime. It's not a crime to, again, with a lot of the wokies, their mindset is like, you haven't read the latest think piece by blah, 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 like that came out a week ago that actually said this new thing is now racist, like the ever moving goalposts or whatever, like because he's so oblivious and he doesn't even know he's oblivious, like unknown unknowns, that makes him like the equivalent of like a fucking Nazi or whatever in their mind. So it's fucking psycho. It's psycho shit. And again, this is the utility obviously is to make sure that every like normal person who's just a complete normie, who's never probably even like been online like where we've been, in the trenches. Oh God, with all the sickos from every direction. He doesn't even know what any of that shit. If we talk to him, he'd be like, "What are you guys even talking about?" He has no idea what we're talking about. He to conflate him with one of those sickos is fucking wild. It's just wild. It's wrong.
I like how you mentioned earlier, CRK, because I didn't know anything about this Bodega Bro thing. And to be quite honest, I was generally repulsed by the whole thing just because of the way I saw people engaging with it online. And so I didn't want anything to do with it. But you do make a good point, CRK, about how when we first brought this up and introed it, you were saying that the Bodega versus like the store or whatever has become like a battleground for city folks versus like the rural people.
Right.
And it's a cultural icon.
Yeah, like a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that rural people do have their own version of bodegas. But what they're like a gas station that serves barbecue and fried chicken too. Like that's what that is. And it's like a back road thing. And they sell live bait too, maybe like worms and shit.
Yeah,
but
they also sell the worm fridge.
Yeah, but they also sell fried chicken, and you can go there any time of night or whatever and get. You probably can't get food any time of night, but you can get like an old banana or something if you need it.
A one-stop shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some urbanite goes to that gas station and is like, "Oh, what is this? I don't want this sloppy shit." And he's just like shot the next day.
Yeah. That's how you get canceled in the red state.
Yeah. There's no firing. There's firing, but it's from a guy.
Yeah, you get fired for real.
Put into a wood chipper.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think people have taken the whole thing very seriously. And I mean, look, he shouldn't have been fired. But again, I don't know if it's like a massive crime against humanity that he was fired. He shouldn't have been. Definitely should not have been. That's fucking stupid. But yeah, of course, this thing that's just like a TikTok thing is like, it occupied Twitter for like a day or two.
Oh my God, yeah.
Maybe 3 days. It was
multiple
very
days.
Wait, did it really?
Oh yeah, it was huge. And like, like that whole urban versus rural thing, like I really don't care about this shit anymore. Like, bro, if you don't want to live somewhere, don't live there. I don't focus on talking about some shit like I don't want to live in a rural area. And I'm not gonna like be mad at people who live in rural areas. Like, why would I? I don't fucking live. It's like, you know what I mean? If you don't live there, then what do you care? It's not. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't affect me. But like,
people just want to have some other people to be the enemy. That's all it is. People just want to have something that makes themselves feel a little bit better about their shit lot.
And I think
take pride in.
And I think they feel uncomfortable. People just in general, I think that's the whole, like, can we normalize blank thing? Is like people feel uncomfortable if the thing they like isn't the thing that everybody else likes. And they just, I need you all to like the same thing as I do. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like I'm a weirdo or whatever. Just fucking chill the fuck out, relax. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, there's always like this pretentious thing of like, oh, you live in a flyover state, whatever. It's like, bro, if I lived there and I preferred that, I would not give a fuck. I would not give a fuck that they say that. I really wouldn't. Like, who gives a shit? But either way, whatever.
Well,
like,
I think it might also be kind of like informed by the kind of like you know, like it might kind of sting to hear that shit after like your flyover state has been like economically decimated.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
That's the thing, right? Is that and it only goes one way in this case, right? Like people shitting on urbanite culture. It's like whatever. There's like no fucking there's nothing there, right? But like the shitting on rural flyover places is like actively like making
this class element,
well, it's a class element, and like I don't know, to like I guess to invoke Chomsky again, I'm being a fucking lib today, like it's like making deserving victims of the people who got fucked by deindustrialization.
Oh yeah.
And that's I mean, you guys already know, I mean, that's like one of the big things that I'm like really concerned with going on generally. It's like I think that's also kind of just the function, like a secondary function of the zeitgeist generally right now, of just people, the entire just like, oh my gosh, white nationalism, white supremacy, this like fringe right-wing activity that like normies are genuinely scared about. I think that one of the biggest functions of that is to just make deserving victims of like the past 4 decades policy failures. And to just like that is all you need to know, is like all of that classist xenophobic shit talking about rural Americans, that is a response to opioid deaths. Like that's a thing that you can just say in response to that. And it puts it into perspective, and you don't need to care about it, and you can just fucking whatever, let's move on, let's go on to the next thing kind of thing if someone talks about that shit.
Yeah, I was going to say that I live in a quote unquote flyover state and also was one of the largest industrial hubs in America at a certain time. And the difference is that, and I guess it probably goes both ways here, but I see taking offense to it because I do a little bit, because it's not just like an empty statement, right? Like Slav is saying, it's almost like a justification measure where it's like, it's tied to it's justification for an economic thing that's occurring, where it's like they're treated like flyover states as well. It's not just people are saying, oh, this is a flyover state, whatever. No, in people's mind and in like the political economy at large, people pulled out of these states a long time ago, and they're not even in their minds. And so in that sense, they are a flyover. They get flown over and they get jumped over every time there's spending, anytime there's any type of like fiscal bills for improvement of infrastructure, anything like that. These states time and time again are flown over with that as well. And that's what's fucking frustrating.
It's like walking down the street and there's just like some house where like someone broke in and just murdered this person's entire family. And the house is just totally run down, fucking grass isn't clipped or anything like that. You're just walking by and you're just like, nice house, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, literally.
This person's it's just Job, dude. Like,
It's also like, I mean, and then I guess it goes the other way too, right? For like urban stuff, people talk shit about cities. They're like, oh, it's just like dirty, fucking gross and dirty and crime and stuff. And it's like, it is, all that, and all that stuff there's a reason for that as well. That's not good and doesn't really have to do with the people there. It has to do with the general structure of how they're living and like the fact that people just are living on top of each other, et cetera, et cetera. So there's like, obviously there's backings between, but like these are just phrases that are empty phrases. And so there is something that's attached to that like, that's why I think people take frustration and why people want to like stick up and be more like, well, no, my state's not a flyover state, or no, my I don't even know what y'all call them, borough. My borough isn't a shithole or whatever. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, you people?
I mean, you know what I mean, you people.
Yeah, and people who can't like afford to leave like the urban areas or whatever. Like there's that element too. And yeah, I remember Hillary Clinton, as far as the flyover state thing, like she had like made some comment or whatever, where people in middle America, the deplorables or whatever, they're upset because the cities are where there's diversity and economic growth, and they're out of it, and they're resentful because white and race and blah blah blah. She like framed it as that, as like, insane. Oh, you're just jealous that you're whatever. Meanwhile, of course, she's part of the whole trade deal arrangement that destroyed them. Of course. So that's where I see the whole like rubbing the salt in the wound thing. But like that's from Hillary and all that obviously, and I understand that. I think I just mean like if you obviously there's a class element involved and everybody is like everybody's picking apart like the poor elements of the rural life and the poor elements of the urban life, and there's a race to the bottom, right? That's all in politics. Just chipping away at the parts that suck about either side. I generally believe like the function of the left as it exists is just to channel everything that's going wrong with our society as towards like the chuds. That's really what I believe the function of the left is. And I believe the function of the right is to channel all that towards minority. That's really what I believe. I think the function of both of them is to channel it towards the lower rung and just segment it off. That's really what I believe the function of both of them are. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I as far as like, there's that element, obviously, the more serious like power dynamic element. But I just mean in preference wise, like if I just preferred the open air or I just preferred like having convenience, I would not give a fuck what somebody else's preference is, and like I would not give a fuck. I'm speaking sort of in a vacuum, and I know it's hard to like compartmentalize these things, but like. I mean, obviously, I see a lot of right-wing Twitter and people talk a lot of shit about cities, and like, I don't really care. I mean, I'm here, I don't like a lot of aspects of the city, but like, there's aspects I do like, and I'm not really like sway. I'm not like, why the fuck would you live in an area where you got to drive like, an hour to get a fucking bagel? You know what I mean? I don't care. I really don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. So that's what I mean. I'm strictly talking about the cultural thing, but obviously nothing is purely one thing. Everything's all tangled up and everything. But yeah, I do remember that Hillary.
I think a lot of that stuff comes from people also just not having the experience of being in those other areas. Like, I don't know. I've lived in very urban areas and rural areas all over the country. So it's like you pick up that like there's obviously shared problems everywhere, and everywhere has their lot of issues, and everywhere is experiencing the externalities of late capitalism, and it's hollowing out their culture, it's destroying their towns, it's breaking apart their families, and it's crushing the people that they love. And that's everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a city, it doesn't matter if you're out on a farm, it doesn't matter if you like country music or if you like rap music or if you like bodegas or if you like barbecue, bro. That shit is fucking crushing everyone everywhere. And so like, yeah, the real thing is obviously to look past like my team's better than your team, bro. And then try to actually say like, okay, well, what are the issues driving these things? Not the issues. What are the things that are driving these issues in each area? Like, how do we address those so that we don't keep having this team sport? Kind of.
I mean, yeah, and it also doesn't matter how much they want to fight about it because they're all getting fucked. I mean, yes. However much they want to do the black versus white thing or the men versus women thing, people do that all they want. You're all getting fucked. I mean, at the end of the day, it's reality. So, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's crabs in a barrel in my mind, and it's a race to the bottom, and
it's the culture war, baby.
Yeah, I mean, you can get whatever owning you want online, or get some faves or whatever. You can get fucked in the ass. I know you're getting fucked in the ass. Yeah, I mean, like, I know you are. You know what I mean? Like, look around. We're all getting it. So, like, it's none of that shit really. Like, I don't know. That shit doesn't faze me too much. But yeah, I mean. Him making that video after like was very like he didn't need to do that. I mean, it was just funny. It was just a funny thing of him just trying to smooth it over and be like, no, I'm actually. He got a crash course of like what's going on right now. Of like, oh fuck, I got canceled. I got a woke virtue signal or whatever. And just like, again, I really don't think any of it's intentional or malicious. I think it just has no idea what's going on. And, obviously, yeah, again, like you're not gonna make anybody happy when you do that. You're not gonna make any woke people happy. You can't even apologize to woke people about what you did or whatever. They don't care. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change anything. So like, it's best just to unplug if you're in that
you bulldoze past that. Don't even acknowledge it.
Yeah. But it was overall a very funny situation. But I don't know. Yeah, that's what I think of the whole thing. Yeah, obviously it's not important. None of it is important. But people were talking about it a lot.
And similarly, speaking of people losing their jobs, people of great import, probably equal import, Bodega Bro and Boris Johnson as of yesterday. BoJo is out.
Yeah.
BoJo.
Did you guys see this?
I've been hearing rumblings about it. I've been getting some updates that come to my phone, but I don't know what's going on. I saw that he's having some resignations from people in his government or something like that.
I just saw it today on the news. I don't know what they got him for. Like, what happened?
I mean, I don't know what I don't know what this latest thing is, but which I guess I should if we're going to fucking talk about it. But I mean, he's just been getting rammed in the ass the last couple of years, hasn't he? I mean, it's all this fucking like having private parties with people during COVID shit, and both parties seem to just like make hay out of just shitting on him constantly, which like that's great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to read something right now, unless we're all three trying to read something right now.
I am, yeah. The scandals like in the Madison Cawthorn way, like where they just made they like exposed him conveniently, shit that they already knew, but they just like drop it for the sake of
they sent Lenny upstate to the farm with the bunnies.
Is Boris Johnson? He's the guy who like spearheaded Brexit.
He won on that.
He ran on it. I would say that Nigel Farage spearheaded Brexit, but
so that's why that's why he gets a lot of shit from both parties and stuff like that. Like, is Boris Johnson kind of like a diet version of like a British Trump kind of thing? Is that what's going on?
He kind of tried to do it, dude. Except Boris Johnson is like very blue-blooded. He's got that kind of British accent in that way. And he's not really like any kind of populist. He ran on getting Brexit done, but I mean, I think that it also like still got delayed under him a ton. I mean, all he had to do was basically just not be as bad as fucking Corbyn. And Corbyn literally ran on just being like, well, you guys want to do Brexit, but maybe you don't. Maybe we can just vote on it a second time. Because I support either not or going ahead with it. I support whatever, I think we should just vote on it again. And people are like, that's the worst position you could have possibly taken, right?
Fucking retard.
A fucking retard, right? But yeah, I mean, fucking BoJo's a fucking globalist, dude. He's going hard in fucking the Ukraine shit. He's a fucking slug, dude. He's a fucking swamp monster.
I mean, he looks like it, dude. He don't look right at all.
Well, he's a fucking wino too. Like he's a drunk. And he visually looks like a drunk.
Oh, dude, definitely. Yeah, you can see it coming through his pores. He's got liver spots and shit.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, he's the fucking worst, dude. And he, fucking absolute COVID cuck. Wow. One of the worst.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember this episode we were doing before. Yeah. Talking about Boris' scandals and all that.
I think we talked about that with Red Scare. Not Red Scare, shit, sorry. Very, very, my apologies. Red Star Radio.
Yeah. Different.
Yes, much different.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I mean, that is all I remember from the debate where I watched with him and Corbyn, where just Corbyn was like, hey, let's do it again. And it's like, what? And then fucking Johnson is just like, I'm going to do Brexit. They just kept doubling down. And that, like, every question rerouted to the same answers from both of them. It's like, it was very clear what was on everyone's mind. It's like, you doing it or not? And he had an answer. I think because Corbyn was kind of courting the libs or whatever. Who knows? Whatever. He's in bed with him, obviously, whatever. But yeah, Johnson. It's funny when you said who spearheaded Brexit. In my mind, I was like, oh, James Cameron, because he didn't need to put up that fucking
David Cameron.
Yeah, Oh, David Cameron. Did I say James?
James Cameron, just fucking directing. There's some temp walking up to him on the set of Avatar 2, just being like, "Oh, sir, do you want to sign off on Brexit?" Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Get out of the shot.
Fucking James, man.
That's why it took so goddamn long.
Mm-hmm. Dude, James Cameron's got a fucking hand in everything, doesn't he?
Yeah. I still never seen Avatar, but anyways, David Cameron fucking he shot himself in the foot with that. But funny situation. The British politics are funny.
I mean, I think that BoJo is basically just like only marginally less neocon than David Cameron. I don't know enough about British politics to
Yeah.
to like really honestly say if like Boris Johnson or David Cameron are neoconservatives, but like, you know what I mean? Like just the Wonder Bread guys fucking in the Conservative Party, fucking, you know, his fucking banner image on fucking Twitter, BoJo's, is him like shaking hands with Zelensky, dude. Like this guy is fucking Mitt Romney if Mitt Romney was like allowed to fucking drink anything harder than a Diet Coke, right?
Oh, yeah, he can't even have that. He's gotta have that caffeine-free Diet Coke, bro.
You know, exactly. Oh yeah, I'm all, dude. Look at me overestimating the Church of Latter-day Saints. Yeah.
Bro, you're talking about the Church of Latter-day Saints, and that made me think about something. I've been seeing a lot of like Netflix and other streaming services have just been putting out a fuckload of like anti-Mormon documentaries and like docu-series and
I've seen that
movies
too,
and shit
man.
like that recently.
I've seen that too, man. It's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. It's bizarre. Like I was just because I watched this one with Andrew Garfield. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven or something like that. It's like it's actual like a TV show.
Isn't that like kind of trying to be like a knockoff True Detective?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I thought it was pretty good.
I like Andrew Garfield. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I like Andrew Garfield too. I saw him in that Under the Silver Lake, I think.
Under the Silver Lake fucking slaps, dude.
Yeah. That movie is heady. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to check out what else this guy's got. But I watched this one, and I mean, obviously it's got like, it's going to hit the points of like, you know, the secular society's points of like questioning religion and actually religion's lying to you and blah, 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 and all this. But I thought the show itself was pretty good. But then like, next thing you know, I'm looking and I see that Netflix put out something about like murder in the Mormons or some shit. And then some other thing about like FLDS people who are like having a bunch of wives and kid
Bro,
wives.
there's like 8
shit.
more. Yeah. And
yeah, dude.
On Netflix alone. It's weird. Dude, you know what? The first thing that crosses my mind is when I hear this is I wonder how many districts the DNC is fixing to win coming up that are made up of because listen, man, I mean, like, you go to fucking Salt Lake City and like take a look at what an organized religion with like political agency, civic agency looks like.
Oh, dude, every motherfucker in that state that's in like a position of authority is Mormon,
right? And like you know, it's interesting, right? And so I almost wonder if there's a strategic, because I don't know. I like, dude, after like 2016 and just all of the fucking like kids in cages, fucking what if Jesus was a Mexican guy?
What if Jesus was Jesus?
Just insane propaganda shit, and it was just all because they were like losing Hispanics, basically.
Yeah,
I have to wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get skeptical with all that shit, especially I think about like, okay, back when I was coming up and growing up, like, and Netflix and stuff wasn't a thing, there was just cable. There were some shows on about the Amish, like Breaking Amish, and there was like a concerted effort to like vilify the Amish. Yeah. And here's my thing. I don't know what the fuck the Mormons or the Amish are doing. I don't really care because they're not my thing. I'm not really around them. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to go to hell when they die because they believe the wrong shit. But
yeah, I mean, God bless them. But you know,
I mean, they should convert. But I mean, that's as far as I'll go.
Oh shit, especially those Mormons. But anyways, I just get skeptical with that because it's like, here's self-sustained, contained, strong traditional communities.
Right.
And they're coming under attack. And these are traditional communities that have pretty well, I mean, not the Mormons as much, but like the Amish, they've pretty much opted out, like, of neoliberalism, of cap. Like, they're just doing their own things. They're like a pocket that's been relatively left alone within like the greater just kind of like endless gnawing of capitalism. So it's like, and they kind of show that there is another way of life that one could live. And now they don't have the political agency that like Mormons might do. And the Mormons don't even have as much political agency, like obviously, because they don't make up quite as many people. But like within Utah, they do. And so like with the Mormon thing, it's like it seems to me like you're saying they're obviously trying to come after that for some specific reason right now. And I guess with the midterms coming up, that is probably the most direct.
I'm gonna make a CRK style prediction, and this is fucking the response, the haymaker in response to all of the okay groomer right wing shit from the left is going to be, I think in the next year or two tops, there's going to be a real big push to make it just kind of to brand like parallelism, like raising your kids in communities that aren't really plugged into the mainstream, traditional communities, religious communities, raising your kids in a traditional community in that way, that will be considered child abuse. People already basically say that shit, but I bet they're going to go fucking hard on that, dude. I bet they're going to go hard on that, and that's going to be the kind of like the response to, you know, gender goblins teaching your kids that whole political narrative.
Oh, I mean, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that's already, you know, the wheels are in motion for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a few years ago. Do you remember? We've talked about it before. Like, you remember like how like a few years ago, suddenly just like being anti-vax became like overnight this like insanely big meme. And even back then, I was like, this is a psyop. Like, this is weird. There's a reason this is happening. And then, you know, this happens, right?
Yeah.
But one of the big things I remember I listened to a fucking NPR story, Lord have mercy on me, that was talking about like this girl got emancipated from her family that raised her super religious, and they like wouldn't let her get vaccinated, and she wanted to get vaccinated. That's kind of the cliche story, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that because I know some Seventh-day Adventists and stuff that I've worked with and kind of lived around and with, and a lot of them are like along the lines of like Christian Scientists or whatever, where they're like, they don't really do like Western medicine, you know, for a large part, they're definitely not taking vaccines. They're not taking a lot of medicine in general. They got a different kind of medicine that they're rocking. And I do see that as a window for that kind of like, oh, it was child abuse because like, yeah, they won't get their kids vaccinated, or like, you know, they can't send their kids to public school because they won't get vaccinated and this or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I could definitely see that. I've just been thinking about that a lot when I'm seeing all this Mormon shit. I'm just like, they're coming for the Mormons now. It looks like. I mean, according to Bennett, I guess they've been coming for the Mormons.
I mean, Bennett got fucking doxxed, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I didn't know anything about that when we talked to him. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? I just leave the Mormons alone. But I didn't know they even people thought about them. But now that I'm seeing all this stuff, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, maybe.
I mean, considering like the stuff we were talking about last week and everything with, you know, church and state and that whole kind of
coming back into the framing a little bit as a discussion.
Yeah, well, and just the kind of misconception of it, the misnomer of it. Like, I think I see it as just such a perfect. I mean, goddamn, dude, we're talking about theocracy. We're talking about people freaking out about the separation of church and state, and like Utah is the big thing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Unless there's something I'm missing here.
No, Utah is like the best example of that within the United States, or I'd say the most salient.
Yeah, it's the theocratic state, and like, I mean, I might be a little overstating it there, but like, you know what I mean, and so. Yeah, I mean, 100%. And people fucking hate Mormons. And honestly, even Christians don't really like to defend Mormons most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fuck with what they got going on. I mean, I don't really, they just took the Bible and added some other fucked up shit onto the end of it, and we're like, this is it, actually. I mean, I don't fuck with that at all.
I don't know. I've never read the Book of Mormon. I don't know, right? But I will say, you know, it does. I basically buy into just the whole thing of like, it seems like their religion was basically just written by a con man, like literally.
Yeah. But like, you can do whatever you want though if you want to believe in that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not my path.
Yeah, not my journey.
I'm not
nothing wrong with it.
I'm not a Mormon, but there's nothing wrong with, you know, it's not my path.
Yeah.
So. I'm not Mormon. I don't know, man.
I mean, I haven't thought about Mormons since Mitt Romney. That was the last time I thought about them. And
well, dude, that's the funny thing, though, is that like he's being held up alongside Liz Cheney as like the good guy, right? He's the good German, and
never Trumper. He's the good guy.
Yeah, he's
our man on the inside, Mitt Romney. He was mad funny.
Such a fucking cunt. Do you remember CRK, the fucking 2012 Joe Biden being like, this guy wants to put y'all back in chains talking about
Mitt Romney. I forgot about that. Oh, it's a banger. Yo, shout out Joe, man. That was
old school Joe actually used to say some fun shit.
Oh yeah, he had some bars here and there. Yeah,
they'll like buy a shotgun and shoot it up in the air thing. And then a bunch of people started doing that, and fucking police departments had to be like, nah, like don't shoot your gun up in the air.
Old Joe Biden gaffes were fine. Now it's not even a gaff anymore. It's just like, it's not a gaff.
No. Old Joe Biden gaffes are like, hey, go get a 12 gauge, scare him off. New Joe Biden gaffes are like, yeah, there's a thermonuclear war that's gonna end all of human life.
Yeah, I mean, now he's so riddled with dementia that there is no gaffes. It's all part of the programming. It's all part of the plan.
It's the new him.
Yeah, it's the new normal for him. But when he used to be sentient and like normal, that's when he was actually like a sharp guy. He actually did pretty well in debates, like that vice presidential debate. But way back. But yeah, he just
didn't he kind of fuck up Paul Ryan in that debate?
He did very good. He was sharp, and Sarah Palin. He was like quick. He's like a different person. Back when he didn't have a stutter, he had a stutter in childhood, lost it, and then got it back. You know how that works. Dude,
the eternal return of the fucking stutter, dude.
Yeah, you know how that goes. But yeah, there was one gaffe he had where he told like some crowd, there was some paraplegic guy. He's like, stand up, Jim. Everybody give the Jim up, and he didn't know he's paraplegic. Those were like goodies. They were fucking. I love those. But now it's. They oversaturated the market, now it's like overflooded.
Well, now it's sad.
Now it's just elder abuse, and I feel bad for them. Yeah. But the Mormons, the Mormons. All I know about them is that they have mad fucking wives, and they're polyamorous or polygamous or whatever.
Not all of them, but that's just what I'm saying. You were saying you hadn't thought about him since Mitt Romney, and I was just under the same thing. I just thought that's how everyone was operating, right? But I was telling Slav while you were in the restroom, it's that like Netflix and Hulu and all those streaming services.
I heard that.
They've just been putting out mad anti-Mormon shit.
Yeah.
Also, it's worth pointing out too. There's just intelligence agencies are full of Mormons.
Really?
Yeah, dude. There's a ton of the deep state has a shitload of Mormons in it.
Really? Yeah, I'm thinking of you ever seen Boardwalk Empire? I'm thinking of the fucking dude with the weird face.
Oh, fucking Jack. Yeah, the guy with the mask.
Whatever. No, the he's like a Mormon FBI agent, like. Really
yeah.
He's got a very distinct face. You know what I'm talking about? That guy.
Yeah. God, what the fuck? He was in Man of Steel, right?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he's the villain. Yeah.
He's fucking Zod, dude.
He's a good actor, but yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And all I know is that they got mad wives, which is pretty based. That's pretty tight. I like that. But white Sharia, that's pretty dope.
Dude, I remember there's an old Simpsons episode where he's I think Grandpa Simpson's talking to somebody, and he's like, yeah, I got 50 wives, and he's like, my God, 50 wives. That's a lot of sex. And the guy's like, I said wives, not girlfriends.
Yeah. You remember Mitt Romney's old gaffe where he talked about having binders full of women? Man. Remember you already know. Though.
Oh, that's so perfect. Dude, remember when and that was about hiring procedures when he was in the corporate world. And
he's like, I love hiring women. I love it.
I got binders full of women. And remember when that was the defining gaffe of that entire election?
Yeah. That was a big deal. Yeah, it's true. It was the defining one.
Bro, we just had a coup.
And no one even remembers. It's a footnote. The coup is a footnote. It's like, man, shit really hit the fucking gas in the last couple of years. I don't know what the fuck happened. But the Mormons, I mean, shout out to them. They're doing their thing. Don't ignore the haters.
Do the Mormons just stay in their fucking pocket and they're just putting the fucking work in? And you do kind of have to respect it. Yeah. I hear from people. I had a family member go to Salt Lake City in the last couple of years, and they were cleanest fucking streets I've ever seen in the States.
Oh, it's a clean city, bro.
Yeah, and it's just fucking just chill shit, dude.
But you gotta think about it. That's their Zion. So if you're thinking about you're trying to create a real heaven on earth, or bring it more in line with what your ideal of heaven is, you're gonna be taking better care of your property, dude. Just no doubt.
And you're talking about,
dude.
You're talking about they got scandals or whatever. I'm just reading now because I don't know about their scandals. But we don't have to stay on this for too long. But I am curious. Like, do you guys like the whole idea of like the Catholic Church sex scandals? Like, do you guys believe? Because I've heard people.
Do I believe it? Sure, definitely, dude.
Yeah,
because I've had people arguing with me saying that inflated or just defending it or being like downplaying it or whatever. You know what I mean? I've heard that before, and like I'll be honest, it's not something I've really dug into. So I was just wondering if
this like the sex abuse crisis.
Yeah.
Wait, what is the question?
No, I'm just wondering if you guys like had like other opinions about that besides that, because I have heard. You walk around assuming certain things are like not debatable, but then I've had people debate with me about it, and I'm like, oh, really? And people will be like, no, you don't understand. Like all these stories, like a lot of them were fabricated or inflated or whatever. Like people were coming at me with like as if they had like some data or whatever, and I'm not going to look into it. I'm too lazy to look into it. So I was just like,
dude, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I mean, I have to be honest. It's not like I have been super religious up until fucking like much more recently. And so it's not like I'm like a fucking expert or anything. But I mean, like, I don't know. I personally haven't heard people really like debate the legitimacy of the claims. But I mean, it is just one of those things of, I mean, like fucking tectonic plates shifted and the numbers, just the sheer numbers, like I don't really think they can all be bullshit, right? One of the things that I kind of thought about it, though, too, that I think like makes me think it's legit and also I don't think maybe gets talked about a lot is like, I think that for a long time that, okay, being homosexual like isn't a sin necessarily. It's like the act of having gay sex, right? Like sodomy is the sin, right? And so I think for a long time, and again, I'm no expert, I could be wrong, but I think for a long time, I think for a lot of places, a lot of families, if you end up like having a gay son or even a gay daughter, I think like sending them into the church what was that?
Seminary school.
Yeah, like was like a path forward. You know what I mean? Like a way of handling that. And makes sense. What the fuck do you get out of that, dude? You get, and obviously people don't maybe want to acknowledge this a lot because then you're saying, these people are molesting kids because they're fucking homosexual men, and there is some uncomfortable stuff to acknowledge there. But I think that's
sexual repression.
Yeah, I mean it's sexual repression, but. Well, yeah, but I mean, the sexual repression's there either way, even if you don't acknowledge that they're gay, right? Because I mean, they can be straight men. I think that it has something to do with homosexuality, personally, and it's not all that, right? But yeah, I think this stuff is legit, and I think, and I also think,
a lot of the time it is boys too. I mean, it's like the altar boy or whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's a pretty direct tie there to the homosexuality.
Exactly. And the nuns aren't doing it because women hate sex. But yeah, I mean, I don't really think you can deny it. I think that the issue of just like people covering the shit up comes down to just the reality of just being like, what's the number one fucking function of bureaucracies, or the number one priority of bureaucracies? The number one priority of bureaucracies is to keep the fucking bureaucracy, to keep the institution alive, right? And so, yeah, like, is it fucked up that like the church covered this shit up, and in more like generous cases, you could say they opted to dealing with these things within the structures of their institution? Is that fucked up? Yeah. Is that at all surprising that an institution would do something like that to make sure it doesn't die? No, so right. You can't be naive about it. But that doesn't make it not fucked up.
Yeah, as far as that whole thing goes, A, I'm not Catholic, so I don't fucking know. I got nothing to do with that. I'm not going to defend it or anything like that. B, I'm not Michael Keaton, so I'm not going to try to get my nose down to the facts. And like, I don't have the facts. I don't know the case, so I don't know what's going on. But I think probably, yeah, there's a lot of that going on. A lot of like sexual abuse going on within it. And like Slav was saying, it's a big bureaucratic machine. And has been for like literally millennia. And so, yeah, they're going to have a very, strong sense of let's keep this shit under wraps. Let's keep this shit going. Let's handle this within house. And when they handle it within house, you know, it's a boys club. It's buddy. It's people that know each other. It's folks that are doing favors for each other. So I'm going to move you over here to this other church in this other city, rather than like, I'm going to put you on blast and fire you and stuff because that's a bad look for the organization as a whole. And then, I mean, there's a bunch of gross, nasty shit that goes on, no doubt. I don't think it's defendable at all. I don't think I have not encountered a lot of people with that, but also like I've never just been coming up like, hey man, what do you think about sexual abuse in the Catholic Church? That's just not something that I discuss often.
Oh no, I was making, because they were just like, oh, you know, the solution to the pedo crisis is the Catholic Church, and I was like, that just sounds funny. That just sounds funny to me, and I brought that up, and they were like, no, that's bullshit, right? And I was like, really? I was like, red pill me. I'm like, you know? But no, that's true. Like that whole aspect of like, you know, keeping it in house, the Sandusky thing. I mean, any scandal, politics, the politicians, they do that. In Sandusky too, they kept it in wraps. They're not like any religious group, but obviously your own, you protect your own, right? So that's the function of any organized situation. So
I will say again, like I'm someone who's pretty ignorant on this topic. I'm like down to like hear somebody out. If there's some fucking based anti-Vatican II trad cath that wants to talk about, that wants to pill me on how this is a fucking hoax psyop, I'm willing to hear it out. But I mean, I don't really have any reason to think that. I mean, it's also just one of those things of just like, yeah, there's a ton of these numbers. I'm sure that some of them are bullshit, just in like a statistical sense, but, but you know.
And obviously there's definitely a material incentive for the secular state to take aim at these institutions, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think that a lot of the time when people take their battle line and they just unconditionally like defend the position of like, it's all bullshit, you know, I think that's just a way of them expressing what you're saying, you know, and just like wanting to be heard in that way of just being like, there is an incentive for our opponents to do that, right? But instead of like having that nuance kind of like shades there, it just becomes like, well, I'm going to be on the side that just discounts the entire topic, when, you know, no, like you can be heard in saying that there is this incentive to take the piss out of the institution.
Yeah. That's what all this what all this reactionary politics is on both sides, is people just not wanting to deal with the nuance. And I know that people have made comments like, oh, nuance is a lib term and whatever, but like nuance is just like the world we're living in, right? Like there is difference of there's different things. Not everything's blanket, not everything's black and white. And so like, but what it is that because we are so separated and divided, people are immediately going to be like, well, I can't really acknowledge that the kernel of truth, or the truth that's behind this, that's saying, well, yeah, obviously there is sexual abuse here, because of the fact that I know that there is a material incentive. And then it comes down to like this friend enemy distinction thing, right? It's like, well, there's a material incentive for my enemy to run these things, so I'm just going to get into my friend camp and completely just disregard all of that. Which is just like obviously not a proper way to engage with like the world.
Caveman, playing the role, gotta play the role and all that. Like,
I mean, I can't like, I mean, if I'm like standing face to face with somebody that's like, yeah, I was raped as a child by a priest, like, I'm not just gonna be like, you know, the globalists want to do that to weaken the church.
All right, that was part 1 of our episode. If you'd like to listen to part 2, you can find that at patreon.com/fedpost. Thanks for listening.